So in this video, I'm going to be covering Air Domination matches in War Thunder Air Arcade. It will be a quick overview over the game mode, and then I'm going to walk through the two main ways you can go about winning Air Domination matches. So what I've got here is just a picture I drew up. I got the screenshot of the map in game, and I put a circle as an overlay here. So the capture zone, as I've said in my overview video, but I'll recap here. The capture zone is a cylinder, right? It's not a sphere. What the exact dimensions are, I don't know. But the one dimension that has remained the same throughout all of my experiments that I've tested is that the height of this cylinder is about 4,000 meters, all right? What changes is the start height of the cylinder. That is map dependent, all right? So sometimes it starts at 700 meters, then goes up to 4,700 meters. That's the height of the cylinder. Other maps may be about 500, so it starts at 500 meters, then goes up to 4,500. That's all map dependent, but it's a cylinder. Now, when you bring up the map, we press the M key, and bring up the map in game, you won't see the cylinder, right? However, if you look at your mini-map, as you get close to the capture zone, you will see that there's a grayed out area on your mini-map, and that gives you a rough estimation as to where the zone starts and ends. So you can use that as a helpful way of gauging where you are in relation to the capture zone. Now, the first main method is bleeding tickets, all right? So each kill in the air domination match is 50 tickets. And the reverse goes for your side, right? A lot of people I find forget this is that every time you get shot down, and sometimes you don't even need to get shot down. Let's say you have a crash. So long as you lose your aircraft and your in-game life, your team loses 50 tickets from the overall pool, all right? Now, usually what happens is that the game will go on, and it's basically a war of attrition. Who can shoot down more aircraft than get shot down, basically. And what happens is that you either run the tickets down, or you've killed enough of the enemy that you've displaced them away from the capture zone, and you manage to cap the objective. And once you do that, the remaining tickets on the enemy team starts to automatically go down to zero, right? That's why it's important to capture the zone. And this is the normal way that matches usually go. And because it goes like this, it's a war of attrition. It usually takes quite some time. There is a second way to go about this, and it's a way that I've developed over the last year or so. And I never had a name for it. I'm just gonna call it the Gambit, partly because you're making a sort. If you're playing solo, that is, you're making a sort of like a high risk, high reward kind of play. But I found that if I play with a squad, I can pretty much do this any game, and it still produce results. Even if it doesn't work off all the way that I intended to do, it still has effects that still positive for my team in the game. But what the Gambit is it's a maneuver basically. And the reason why it works is if you watch my Top Gun commentary video, I talk about psychological warfare here. And the way that it works is that you have to first read and understand people. And what you have to understand is that most of the people who play this game, and especially when they get to the air domination, they're just looking for kills, right? So uh, once I go into a game, and once I find myself in a position where I can bait everybody in who's interested in getting a kill, I can bait many people into trying to shoot me down. What I do then is just drag them away from the capture zone, right? So this can be pulled off at any point in the game. It can even be pulled off at the start of the game. And I've done this once where I've managed to pull it off at the start of the game, and we won the game in under 2-3 minutes, around about there. What you need to do is that the initial setup has to be, you have to be in front of the majority of the enemy team. All right. I'm thinking maybe even 5 enemy aircraft. Even if you pull away 2 or 3, that's pretty good. But the way you want to like have the final killing move is if you can get more than 5 of the enemy aircraft interested in trying to chase you. So usually this involves you flying in front of the enemy spawn or flying towards the spawn. Usually, once the initial engagement has been done over and you've shot down the first few of the fastest enemy aircraft that have come out towards the zone, if you just fly towards the spawn, you grab the attention of the rest of the enemy players that are spawned in or are spawning in. And once you do that, usually what I do is I just start shooting my guns. I don't run stealth ammunition, so the tracers are on. And this grabs the attention of anybody that wasn't interested, now has interest. And this usually works most of the time. And once you grab all the attention, your objective now is to dive down and fly away from the capture zone. The best way you want to go about doing it is to fly below their spawn. So we're flying up in here, and they're spawning in and coming into the zone. You can grab their attention at any point along this line here. What you then do is then go straight right under the spawn, because there's a chance you might be able to catch even more guys that are spawning in, catch their attention, and you want to dive. You want to dive away from the capture zone, and you want to go below. And as you drag more people, you manage to drag them out of the capture zone. And at this point, what you need to do is you need to try stay alive as long as possible. Don't try shoot anybody down, because so long as they're with you at a low altitude, flying away from the capture zone, you've negated you've basically removed them from the game, basically from the equation, because they're no longer going to be able to contribute to capturing the zone anymore. They're better flying, chasing after you, doing nothing, than if you shoot them down, they die, then they respawn and they have another chance to go back into the capture zone. So you want to grab their attention, fly as far away from the capture zone, go low, and if you manage to pull this off, you can get up to 8, 9. I've done 9 enemy aircraft. Get the attention of 9 players, drag them away. So they're all chasing this one aircraft. That leaves the rest of the team to mop up anybody inside the capture zone and then cap the zone. So that's the essence behind the Gambit right here. So I have a sort of like a love-hate relationship with air domination and air-field domination. And the reason why is that sometimes you're going to run into the situation where you're not going to be able to win the game because the matchmaker has screwed you over, right? There's been many times where the team that we get, we may have 5 players that only have 1 aircraft in the lineup, and we may have the rest of the team only have like a handful of aircraft in their lineups. So if the game goes on for too long, these guys lose all their aircraft and they just leave the game. And if the enemy has more aircraft in their lineups, then that's it. The numbers are in their favor. And if you're in a 10-on-1 in an air domination, there's not much you're going to be able to do. Even if you're on a 10-on-3, your chances are slim to none. So this quote from Picard in the first, I think maybe even the second season of Star Trek: The Next Generation. This one's always stuck with me. He's talking to Data, and it is possible to commit no errors and still lose, and that is not a weakness. That is war thunder, basically, in air domination and airfield domination matches. It is possible to get match made with a team that just cannot perform because they just don't have the tools. They don't have any aircraft in the lineups, maybe just 1. Or it could be that they just leave the game after 1 or 2 deaths and go and do something else because they get bored. That happens many, many times, and you can't control that. That's pretty much air domination. So yeah, thanks for watching.